So welcome to the training, Selenium training, right? So I'll give you a brief background, okay, right? I will of Selenium before I actually go and start with Selenium. Okay, how Selenium has evolved over a period of time. What are the different components of Selenium, right? And where is it going? All right. So if you talk about Selenium, then there are three components. Initially, when it launched in the market, right, Selenium had three components. Okay, one it's still there, it's known as IDE, one is RC, and one is GRID. Okay, right. Now, what is IDE? IDE is a primarily record and run tool. Okay, it's primarily used for recording and running. Every automation tool, okay, every automation tool has this feature of recording and running. You pick up any automation tool like Silk Test, or you take up an automation tool like QTP. Fine. Every tool will have this feature. IDE is also a tool in one of the components of Selenium, which has got this feature, but it is not widely used. Okay. The reason being is that you cannot just record and run the applications and test them. Initially, when the testers they go into testing, right? If you don't know what record and run is, don't worry. As you continue with the course, you'll come to know. Okay, not widely used in the industry because you cannot record and run the dynamic websites today. Okay, for example, a website like bbc.com, which changes every day. Okay, you just cannot record it today and say that fine, the script is going to run for next 10 days. It's not possible. Okay, IDE only works on Mozilla browser and it generates no reports. This is also one of the issues. Okay, right, that only Mozilla is supported by Selenium IDE. Okay, it is a very simple tool, primarily a record and run tool. If your application is very small, 2 or 3 pages, and the project is not critical, you can use IDE. Right. The next is Selenium GRID. This was introduced way back. I worked on Selenium GRID for the first time somewhere in 2007. Okay, and Selenium RC in 2007. RC was introduced to overcome the drawbacks of IDE. Okay, RC could make dynamic scripts. Okay, what do you mean by this? That is, you could automate an application, any application, even if the UI of the application is constantly changing, you can automate the application. Again, for example, an application like bbc.com, where the UI is changing every day, but using RC, we could write a script which could adjust according to the changing UI. All right, fine. Just a minute. I think somebody is asking me a question on Skype. No. If you have any questions, you can also reach me on Skype during the class. Right. Now, moving ahead, but the thing is, for learning RC, tester had to learn a programming language like Java, Ruby, Python, Perl, PHP. There are many languages. Okay, you cannot run away from programming. If you think that you are in testing just because you want to run away from programming, it's not the thing. Your career will hit a rooftop, okay, where you will feel that fine, you need to learn something new in order to get out of manual testing or regular work. Okay, so you have to learn a programming language. In this course, we'll be covering Selenium with Java. It is used by 70% of the industry. Okay, Selenium with Java. Fine. And RC could also generate reports, good reports, HTML reports, Excel reports and all. Okay. And GRID was something which could run your test cases in parallel. Okay. You could make a centralized node, connect the hubs to it. Node and hubs means these are different machines. Okay. You can connect different machines to a centralized hub. Okay, and these machines will be, just a minute guys. Right. So these machines, they could run the script parallelly. Okay, scripts could be executed parallelly across these machines. Suppose you have got 10,000 test cases. Okay, right. So what you could do is that you could divide these 10,000 test cases among 10 machines. A centralized machine known as hub, this is the hub, will control the other machines, these which are called nodes, right? And the test cases will take lesser time to execute. This is a very good feature in Selenium. Okay, now what happened was people realized that there are a lot of drawbacks. Okay, there are a lot of drawbacks of um, Selenium RC. Okay, because primarily RC got famous because it could actually serve the purpose of writing dynamic scripts and all. But there were a lot of drawbacks. I cannot explain them right now. Most of you will not be able to understand. Okay, but the like for example, primary one being in Selenium RC, there used to be a server. Okay, right. That server you used to start from command prompt, and many times that server never used to start up, and people had to restart their machines and all, and a lot of other issues. Okay, the commands were lesser. Right. So in 2011, somewhere around August 2011, WebDriver came into picture. This is known as Selenium 2.0 and RC is known as Selenium 1.0. Okay. It was not that RC was migrated to WebDriver. This is not the case. WebDriver is a completely new tool. It is completely different from RC. People who have worked on WebDriver, when they look at RC code, when they go back and look at the RC code, they are not able to understand it. Okay, these are completely different tools, fine. But WebDriver, again, all the features were there. It is available in various languages, dynamic scripts, reporting, everything WebDriver does. But you know, it's got so many features better than RC. Okay, right? And for example, if you have to extract multiple components from a page or something, I don't want to confuse you guys right now, but right now just understand that WebDriver has got a lot more features than RC. Okay, right. IDE is still there. Okay, and the versions have changed for IDE. Okay, Grid has evolved into Grid 2, which supports WebDriver as well as RC. Okay, right. So this is what Selenium does. So Selenium has evolved. Now, primarily Selenium is for web-based applications. It is not for desktop-based applications. If you go to the official website of Selenium, seleniumhq.org. This is the official website of Selenium. Okay, it clearly mentions over here that Selenium automates the browsers. Okay, it is only for web-based applications, right? In between, they had actually tried to bring in support for mobile as well. Okay, but later on it was removed because of some issues and all. Okay, right. Now, if you go to download section over here, right, and these are the Java client libraries. If you click on Java doc over here, this is the technical documentation of Selenium WebDriver 2.0. I am recording this session. You will get the recorded session, so don't try to note everything. Okay, so this is the official documentation of WebDriver. This is, if you don't know programming, if you don't know the concepts of object-oriented programming, that's where I'm coming. You need to understand the concepts of object-oriented programming. Only then you can understand this documentation. Okay, right. So that's what we'll be coming over, and if you look at the course and all, we'll be starting with the concepts of object-oriented programming and all by tomorrow, right? And then we'll be actually from day 4 we'll be talking about Selenium and all, and on day 3 I'll also talk about Selenium. Okay, so now the first thing is that installing JDK, right? This is important. Okay, I think everybody has got Java installed, but these days JDK installation is mandatory. Okay, go to Google, right, and just type download JDK. Okay, you will have the first link. Will you conduct mock interviews? Look, I will not conduct mock interviews, right? I cannot cater to so many people. To be very honest, there is no point hiding stuff. But yes, what I have done is that in the pre-recorded sessions which I give you, okay, there's a question being asked, what about interview preparation? Basically, this is the thing, right? In the pre-recorded session lately, I have added a new session, the last one. The duration is over 3 hours. It's about interview questions. I have discussed a lot of interview questions in this. Okay, that will help you out. Okay, right now, as I was telling, you need to install JDK. Just go to this URL and you need to install JDK from this link. Fine, and install it for 64-bit or 32-bit OS, or whichever OS you have. Right now, Indumati, you will understand in some time what exactly WebDriver is. The question being asked is what exactly is WebDriver. Okay, I cannot comment on that right now. You will not understand. The first thing is that you need to understand how Java works. Right. Rishi, let me proceed with the course. You will have your answer clear. Okay, if I don't want to talk about it right now, it will confuse most of the people. Okay, right now, if I like, yeah, once you have installed Java, you need to download Eclipse. Eclipse is editor for Java language, right? Like for example, if you have done C programming language, we used to use Turbo C. It's an editor, right, where you write the code. Similarly, you can download Eclipse and download the Luna version. Okay, it's a good one. Okay, Eclipse Luna download, right? You can go to the first link and download for your OS. Okay, now Windows 10 users can face issue. Okay, if you are using Windows 10, then you might face issues with Selenium Java or something. If you are planning to jump over to Windows 7, it's just released, it's freshly released. Just think twice. Things are not working on that operating system and people are facing issues. Okay, so please let it become stable and then buy a new laptop with Windows 7, Windows 10. Okay, right. So in my machine, hold on, I have got Eclipse out here. If out here the Eclipse is there, hold on. Yes, it's in E drive, yeah. So when you download Eclipse, it will look like this. A folder will come up. You open it, and you need to run the Eclipse exe file. Okay, I'll run this Eclipse exe file, and Eclipse will launch. Right, and this is known as the workspace launcher. This is the path where we'll be storing all the code and all the projects in the training. Okay, so I'll just call it August 2015 weekday and let Eclipse launch. Fine, so just be with me. You will understand various things as I proceed. Eclipse is an editor. Okay, right, yeah, you can go with IntelliJ as well, but most of the times industry uses Eclipse editor. Okay, most of the people use Eclipse. Fine, so let it launch. Right, so the most important thing which I want to tell you is Java language. Okay, if you have your basics of Java cleared up, if you know Java nicely, then learning Selenium is not tough. Okay, right, so this is the welcome page. I'll close this welcome page, and in Eclipse there are various views available. Fine, just a minute. Over here you will see that this centralized area over here is where you will be writing the code. On the left hand side we'll be storing the projects, and at the bottom you will be seeing the output. Alright, for many people this session would be a very simple session. Okay, you'll think that I know this stuff, but I'm starting from the very basics, because at times there can be students who are good at programming but they have not used Eclipse. Okay, so just be with me, right? As we proceed, you will learn a lot of things. Fine. So now over here, uh, if I create a new project, I'll create a new project, create a new Java project. Fine. And if you don't get the Java project option, you right click over here, go to new, other, or new project. Right under Java, you will also see the Java project option. Okay. Click on next, and I'll call this project as day 1. Fine, and finish. Hold on. Just a minute. All right, fine. So if out here, this is the day 1 project, and under the day 1 project, you'll see a folder, source folder, and something known as GRE system library. This GRE system library is nothing but Java which is installed in your system. Okay, right. So if you right click on this project, you will see number of options. We will be using these options. Okay, we'll be using these options in the training. Okay, right. If you go to the properties, right, if you go to the properties of the project, okay, I'll just click on the properties, right. You will see that there are various properties. One of the properties is resource, okay, which tells you where the project is lying. See, the project is lying under the workspace. When Eclipse was starting, I gave a workspace path, right? Okay, so all the projects which we create will be created under this workspace. If I go to this workspace, if I go to the physical location, right, you will see the day 1 project over here. If you open day 1 project, you will see various folders, files, out of which you will be only able to map the source folder. Okay, right. And inside the source folder, you will be storing all the Java files and all. Okay, what are other folders? We'll talk about them as we proceed. Just be with me. Fine. So whatever coding you need to do inside the source folder. You'll create the first Java file over here. Right click on this source folder and create a new class. Okay, new class. Fine. To create a new Java file, you need to have a new class. Okay, and I'll just talk sample underscore basics. I'll just name this file sample underscore basics and check on this checkbox public static void main and finish. Right. So this is the code which is generated. Fine. Hold on. Let me increase my font size. Just a minute. Right. Public class Selenium basics. Now the first rule in Java is that the name of this class should be same as the name of the Java file. If I give a different name, it will start throwing me an error immediately. And the best part of Eclipse is that if you move the mouse over the error, it tells you why the error is coming, and it tells you that 2 fixes are available. One fix is that correct the name over here. Okay, and other is rename compilation unit to this.java. That means rename the file. Okay, and right. So I'll choose the second fix and it gets fixed. So this is how you fix the programs and all. If I close this, if I don't close this bracket, closing brackets are important. Okay, it will tell you that syntax error, you need to close the bracket and all. So it's a smart editor. Fine. Now I am assuming you know basics of Java. You know what integer is, or basics of programming. Int I is 100, string x is hello. Right. So you know what strings are, what integers are, what for loops are, what while loops are. Fine. Okay. Now what we are here to cover oops and all. Okay. Fine. Now moving ahead. Right. A very simple thing, something to type. Yes, that's important. If you want to type something in Java, the command is system.out.println. Okay, I'm sorry for the Skype notifications and all. I am online on Skype so that you can ask me questions. Various other people are also pinging me. So just I'm sorry for that. Right. So system.out.println, you can actually type over here, say Selenium class. So this will print Selenium class. If you run this program, to run this program, there are two ways in Eclipse. The first way is that you can run it from this run icon on the top. Okay, make sure the class is opened in editor and you run it, and it will get executed. In the console, you will see Selenium class coming up, right? Or the second way is that you can right click over here on the Java file and select the option run as Java application. Okay, right? Look, I'm telling you the features of Eclipse right now because these are some basic things, right? Like for example, sometimes what people do is that this is your package explorer. Under this your project is lying. You by mistake you close this. And then you are confused that fine, where is that package explorer and how do you get it back, and problem starts. It's very easy. You can go to window, show view, and you will get the package explorer from here. Okay, you can click on it and it will come back. Sometimes you close your console output window and then confusion happens, and you can enable it back by window, show view, console. Okay, so it's important to learn the features of Eclipse first, right, rather than jumping over to all the things, right? Or for example, if I write over here system, the shortcut for system.out.println is you type syso, then make sure that the cursor is in front of O and hit control space bar. Okay, and I'll just type A. Fine, let me type few things. A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. Now you can also debug your programs in Eclipse, right? What do you mean by debugging? You can run your programs line by line and you can check the output parallelly. Okay, that is very helpful in Selenium, right? Like in front of the first line, I will double click in front of the first line. This will introduce a breakpoint. Okay, we can stop the execution on this line, right? And run it line by line. You can run the code in the debug mode. This small sign on the top, you see a small insect is there, like this one. This is the debug icon. Fine. You can click on it and the code will execute. You will be asked to switch to a debug perspective. You can switch over to a debug perspective and the control will stop on this line. Okay, right. And if you hit the F6 button of your keyboard, the line will get executed. You see, Selenium class is getting printed. You can drag the console to the bottom. Fine. Now if I hit F6 again, A1 is printed. So you can run the code line by line. Okay, and that is the advantage. Let me run it again and it stops it. So F6 will run the code line by line. If you don't want to debug and if you just want to move forward, you hit F8 of your keyboard. If you hit F8, so it executes like a normal program. You can also put multiple breakpoints. I have put a breakpoint on line number 12. I can also put the breakpoint on line number 15. Okay, right. When I run it in the debug perspective, it stops on line number 12. Right, and if I hit F6, it will run normally, one line by line. If I hit F8, it will run normally and it will stop on the second breakpoint. Okay, so what I mean to say is that this is important, guys. You have to note it down. F6 is line by line. Okay, F8 is normal. Okay, so if you put multiple breakpoints and at one breakpoint you hit F8, it will run normally and stop on the next line. The advantage of debugging is that run the program, you are able to judge everything. Like for example, if I move my mouse over X, it will show the value of X. Or, hold on, you double click on the file, you will have all the variables over here on the top. You can see the values of those variables as well. You can double click on the file, the screen can maximize, and if you can double click over here, it will go back to the normal size, right? If you want to terminate your program in between, you can terminate it from this red icon over here. Okay, right, fine. So there are various perspectives in Java. out here there is Java perspective, there is debug perspective. Okay, there are various perspectives in Eclipse. Okay. So when we are debugging, we are in debug perspective. When we are writing normal code, you can go back to Java perspective. Okay, right. So when you run the program in debug mode, automatically it switches over to Java, so debug perspective. You will see that it you to switch to debug perspective. It is nothing but generic views. That's it. You click on yes, you go back to that perspective. You can debug and all. When your program is over, you can come back to Java perspective. Okay, right. Look, you have to practice. Looking at me will not help you. You have to practice after the class. You'll get the recorded session. Fine. Now, if you go to the physical location where I had kept the project, okay, inside the source folder, you will be able to see the Java file. You see, this is the Java file opened in a normal text editor. You can also run this Java file standalone from a command prompt or something. The thing is, it's not so easy. Okay, better thing is write the code in Eclipse and run it. Don't try to run it from command prompt. That's a primitive way. Nobody does that. Okay, right. Now, if you look at your project and if you look at the bin folder, fine. In the bin folder, you will have sample basics.class file. Okay, this class file, if you try to open it, you will not be able to understand anything. Okay, every Java file is converted to a class file, and the class file example create a new Java file over here known as say any file temp.java with the main function, and inside it I'll just write system.out.println learning Java for Selenium. Okay, if I run this code, you will see that temp.class file will be generated inside the bin folder. Okay, right, and this class file, okay, hold on, I think the view just froze. Just hold on. I'll share my desktop again. Just be with me. Right. I shared my desktop and I hope you are able to see it. Okay. Right. Now, okay, there might be some temporary issue. Okay. So every Java class is converted to a class file. Okay. If you have a project, fine. In that project, if you have number of Java files, just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if you have a project, in that project you have number of Java files. Okay, then each Java file will get converted to a class file. This class file is like an executable file. It can run on any operating system. If your client wants that he wants the project, generally people give the class files and all. When developers say that they are doing the deployment, what they are actually doing is they are deploying these class files on the server. Okay, right. Now sometimes projects are huge, projects are big. Fine, you just cannot deploy 1000 class files. If your client asks you to give you the class file, to give him the class files, how will you give him the class files? This is just a simple project in which I have made 2 files. In practical projects, we make 10,000, 20,000 files as well, right? Okay, so what we do is that we put all the class files together into a single file. Jar file, and it is delivered to the client or this jar file is actually deployed on the server and all when the build is happening, right? A jar file is nothing but a collection of many class files. Okay, right. For example, if you look at Eclipse, right? If you look at my Eclipse, then in the project day one, on the bottommost corner, like you over here, you will able to see the JRE system library. This one. Okay, right. If you expand this, you will see lot of jar files. Okay, these jar files, they are nothing but these are the jar files which come onto your system when you install Java on your machine. Okay, each of these jar files has got many classes inside it, right? For example, if I expand this rt.jar, you will see that I have expanded rt.jar file. You will be able to see many class files under this. And we use these classes. These are pre-built utilities. These are pre-built libraries which we use in the project, right? For example, I'll just tell you. I'll just print over here new date. If you're not able to understand what new is and all, don't worry. Okay, we'll come over to it by tomorrow. You'll come to know. But just understand me as it is, whatever I have written. Date is an internal class. It is in one of the jars over here. See, this is the date.class. It is in one of the jar files. Okay, right. And I am using this in my program over here. If I run this, it prints the current date and time. So I've used an existing utility to just print the current date and time. I never wrote my own program. I never wrote my own logic. Okay, and that is what Selenium is all about. Selenium is all about pre-built utilities. Okay, everything is built in Selenium. The official website of Selenium, there is no exe for Selenium. There is no exe file which you download. For example, how do you install UFT or QTP? You go and install it on your machine. You download the exe file of UFT, or you download the complete UFT from HP's website. Okay, and you install it. Fine. You see the desktop icon UFT and or QTP, you can run it. But for Selenium WebDriver, I'm talking about WebDriver over here. Okay, there is no exe file. I'm going to teach you how to download and configure WebDriver in your Eclipse. Okay, you go to the download section in seleniumhq.org, and over here you will see Java language. Download the version 2.47.1. Okay, you can download it. Fine. Once you download it, hold on. Right. Like once you download it, it will be a zip file, and you will download the jar frame. Okay, like there is no exe. They provide the jar files. The jar files have lot of inbuilt classes and utilities which you will be using in your project. Okay, right? So once you download it, you will get a folder like this, Selenium 2.x, whatever. I am having 2.46. Okay, right. When you open this folder, you will have the 2.46.0 jar file. Okay, and under that folder you will have this. This is the main Selenium jar file. Okay, and under the lib folder you will have the other jar files. You need to include these jar files inside Eclipse, and your project will become Selenium enabled. Okay, you need to include these jar files inside Eclipse. Right click on your project and go to the properties of the project. Okay, go to Eclipse, right click on the project, fine, and go to the properties. It is very easy, fine, and you will see the various options over here. After going to properties, one of the options is Java build path. Okay, you need to click on this, and there will be various tabs on the top. 4 tabs: source, projects, libraries, order and export. You need to be inside the libraries tab and then click on add external jars button. I am recording this session, you will get the recorded session, right? If you don't understand, okay, you add the external jars from the location where you had actually stored the jar files. Okay, the main Selenium jar, this is the main jar, don't forget to include it. At times people do forget it. Okay, include the main jars along with all the jars under library folder. Okay, please include all the jars, and you will see the referenced library section generated. Under the reference library section, you will have the jar files. If you don't see the reference library section, you are not in the Java perspective. Make sure you are in the Java perspective in Eclipse. Right? If you don't see the Java perspective option over here, you can click on this icon and you can select Java from here. Okay, right? So these are the Selenium jar files. Now everything is inbuilt. You need to use the class files which are there in these jar files. Like I use the date class from Java language. There is no rocket science involved. Everything is made, everything is ready for you. You need to know the commands and you need to know where to use those commands in the right possible manner. The best practices and all, everything. Okay, right. So that's what Selenium is all about. The documentation of Selenium is over here in Java doc. Okay, this is the download link. This is the Java doc. Right, and these are all the classes which are there inside Selenium. This is huge. This is huge. I don't also remember all the classes, right? But you need to know the concepts of object-oriented programming, and then only you will be able to understand this thing. Okay, right. So anybody having any questions, please tell me, whether it is technical, non-technical, related to Selenium, not related to Selenium. Okay, any questions? Okay, there is a question being asked on the chat that how much time will it take for the course? Look, it will take me at least 6 weeks. Okay, at least 6 weeks to complete this course, firstly. Secondly, it will take you 2 months to learn it. I don't want to present a false impression in front of you. If you want to just learn this tool for the sake of learning it, it will just take you 15 days. But if you want to learn this tool in a manner where you can clear an interview, it will take you at least 2 months. Okay, right. Anybody with any other question? You can ask a question on the chat, fine, or you can ping me on Skype as well. Okay, anybody with any question? Yeah, there's another question being asked. Deepak, just mail me, I'll tell you. Okay, just mail me that, I'll tell you. Right. Yes, I'll talk about grid. I'll talk about grid. Okay, Rishi is saying that the added jars are coming up individually. Rishi, you are in most probably Java EE perspective. When you are in that perspective, the jars they come up like this. Okay, from Eclipse you click over here and move to Java perspective. Okay, is core Java enough to work with Selenium? Yes, core Java is more than enough. Okay, there are few questions being asked. Just a minute. I'll paste these questions. These are daily sessions. Yes, these are daily sessions, 5 days a week. Is core Java enough to work with Selenium? Yes, it is enough. You don't need to know anything more than core Java. Advanced Java is for web application development. You don't need to know that. Okay, fine. Anybody having any other question? Okay, another question being asked, what is a framework? Yes, daily 1 hour. What is a framework? Okay, all right. Look, I'll explain you a simple thing, which I always do. When you write Selenium scripts, okay, the question is what is a framework? These are your Selenium script. Okay, this is your script 1. Script means a test case. Okay, would want that these scripts should execute in a batch, one after another. Okay, or at times you would want that these scripts should execute like after script 1, script 3 should execute, 2 should not execute. So there are various kinds of requirements. If you have got 100 test cases, you have to run 50, you have to skip 50 test cases, right? Along with that, you have to generate some reports. Okay, then you need to take, like, along with the reports you want the screenshots of the errors and all. You want your test data to be read from Excel file or a properties file and all. Okay, that means you want to supply the data to your test cases from an external source. You don't want to hard code the data inside the test cases. Okay, right. This is all automation. That's why it's used, so that you can make your work easy. You can just write the data in the Excel file, run the test cases, and it will execute and generate the reports. Okay. You would also want some logs to be generated and all. Okay. You would want to integrate the whole thing with some CI system like Jenkins. Okay, you would also want to run it on grid and all. So we'll talk about these things. Okay, I don't want to make it too complex for you. Just understand that when we are running the scripts, apart from running, there are multiple other requirements. Okay, so you will have a centralized controller. This centralized controller is sometimes test-ng, sometimes JUnit. There are BDD frameworks such as Cucumber, and JBehave is also there. Okay, right. So what these do is that they act like a centralized controllers. They read the data from the Excel file, they call the test cases in a certain order, help integrate you with Jenkins grid, generate the logs, generate the reports. So this is the centralized controller. Most probably in this course will be going with test-ng. It's the most famous one. Okay, rest of them I've also covered in the videos. Alright, so this is a generic overview what a framework is. It's an end-to-end testing scenario. Okay, and there are multiple types of frameworks: data-driven, keyword-driven, hybrid and all. Okay. Shweta, I'll start giving you exercises along with the course. Okay, as we proceed, fine. After day 7 or day 8, I will start giving you exercises. I need you to be at a certain level. Right, locators in depth. Yes, I will cover the locators and all. I'll start them from day 4 only. Okay, today is not the right day to start with locators and all. Okay, right. So anybody with any other question? Yes, up to video number 7 in my pre-recorded sessions, those are more than enough to go through Java. Okay, those first 7 modules on my website, okay, qtpselenium.com over here. The first 7 modules are more than enough. Okay, right? For more than enough for Java. Okay, so I'll stop here for today. Okay, if you want to join the training, you can reply to the email, or the better thing is that you can go to our site. No, these are not free modules, Arun Kumar. For the first 3 modules are free. Okay, and after going to the site, you can click on this contact trainer link and just fill out the form and send us the information that you want to join the training. Okay, we'll get back to you. Or the live chat option, not 24/7, is also available. You can come on live chat and you can join the training. Okay, right? So I'll stop here. Okay, and we'll meet tomorrow. Okay, and if you want, you can go through. If you are already joined the training, it's better that if you can go through the videos 3 and 4 before coming to the next class. Seven seats are left in the training. Don't blame me if you are not able to join the training later on, because people actually feel bad after that, right? And yes, we have a support forum, Arun Kumar, where you can post your questions. Okay, and my team responds back with questions and doubts. Right. For tomorrow's training, you will be getting a new link to join in. Okay, right? Fine then. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I will be mailing you the recorded session, Arshad. The recorded session will be mailed to you today. Tomorrow same time, I'll be giving you a new link on the email. Okay. Thank you.